Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jared here with another concert review. This is for AC/DC live in Tampa, Florida on May 16th, 2025 at Raymond James Stadium where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. This is my second time seeing AC/DC. The first time I saw them was in 2016 with Axl Rose in Sunrise, Florida. So this is my first time seeing Brian, and I would say this is also my second time ever going to a concert at a stadium. First time I ever went to a concert at a stadium was Guns N' Roses in 2016 at Camping World Stadium, but never been to Raymond James Stadium for a concert, so this would be a first for me in that regard. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So I wanted to say, Brian hasn't toured the States in about a decade with AC/DC because of hearing issues. That's why Axl filled in a little while back. So they got that all sorted out, and he's back in the band touring with them and recording and everything. The tour is the Power Up Tour. This is the latest album they released in 2020, and due to COVID and God knows what else, I assume that's why they haven't been touring this really until now, you know, kind of 5 years later. But they're doing this North American tour, 13 dates, and yeah, it's pretty incredible. But when we left, I wanted to say the traffic on the way there was absolutely horrible on I-4 and also around the stadium. It was just very, very, very challenging to get any movement going on the road, and it was frustrating, and definitely my patience was tested. And I didn't buy parking beforehand, so I had to get parking on the day of there, but luckily we did find something, and then went ahead and started walking up to the stadium. The opening act, it was the Pretty Reckless. Never seen them, don't know a lot about them. I knew it was a female singer, and I knew that they were pretty popular. I know they've opened for a lot of big bands. Very, very excited to see them, but unfortunately, due to all the traffic issues, we missed pretty much their entire set. By the time we got in there, they were pretty much just finishing up the set, and I didn't even see them really physically. It was mainly just on the video boards. But one thing a few things that I will say from what I heard, it was a lot of instrumental stuff at the end, not a ton of like singing stuff, but it's Taylor Momsen on lead vocals, and then she has a male backing band. She had a lot of black eyeliner and was wearing a pink dress, and dropping lots of F-bombs, tons of them. And yeah, she got the crowd warmed up and everything. So many people there. This place holds 75,000. So maybe when I go to a stadium concert in the future, I will try to leave even earlier, because there were so many cars and so many people, and it was just packed. It was sold out. And it was just like elbow to elbow walking around the stadium. But it was cool to get to see the Buccaneers pirate ship up close. I actually recorded a vlog for this concert and uploaded it a couple days ago. If you want to check that out, it's my last video. But before we went to our seat, I wanted to get something to eat. I planned on getting something to eat on the way there, but the traffic was so bad that I was like, let's just fucking get there. So I knew it would be expensive, but man, I didn't think it'd be that expensive. I just got a cheeseburger and a soda, $21. Absolutely insane. And man, it was not worth that price at all. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So they had multiple merchandise booths around the stadium, of course, and I always want to get my shirt. And they had like a few small merch booths that had like the little devil horns the little light up devil horns that you can buy. I think they were like $20, which is crazy. Didn't get those. But the main merchandise booths had a lot of shirts, more shirts than I see from most acts, and they were more expensive than most acts as well. Most of the shirts that I see at these concerts are $45, and their shirts were $50. And they even had one that was $65. And I was like, what is so much more special about that shirt than the others? I don't know. But they did have a show poster, which was cool, but that was $75. And I wish they would have had a shirt in relation to the show specifically, and they could have just put that artwork of that poster on the shirt, and that would have been really cool. But I went ahead and wanted to get a specific shirt, but they didn't have my size, so I had to go with my plan B, which I was disappointed about, but it you know, it was what it was. Went up to our seats after that, and we did get nosebleeds, and they were almost $200. I bought them a few weeks ago. By the time I bought them a few weeks ago, the show had already sold out, so I did buy resale tickets. And this is a concert that I wish I would have actually waited on the day of to buy tickets, because when I sat down in my seat, one of the first things I did was look to see how much the tickets were. And I saw they had some lower bowl tickets for like $114, not including fees, so it probably would have been about $150, but still, that was something that I noticed and I was kind of disappointed about. But once again, it is what it is. But nosebleeds get a bad rap a lot of the time, but I think nosebleeds are a little underrated. I don't think they're nearly as bad as people, you know, kind of make them out to be. They're not the greatest seats in the world, but I mean, you can still see it, and it's still much better than not going at all. And yeah, we were high up there, and yeah, just ready to go. Place was starting to get packed and filed in, and they had you know, some rock music playing and on the speakers, and then they just had the AC/DC Power Up logo going on the video boards. And yeah, pretty much the show started a little bit after 8:30. They had a video intro, which was very interesting. It was kind of like a car kind of just driving around to the different tour dates and everything. And then once they got to Tampa and Raymond James Stadium, it showed the car, like, you know, going into the stadium or whatever. And then next thing you know, that like the stage starts kind of lighting up as if it was the headlights of the car. And then next thing you know, Brian and Angus come out and the show is beginning. And they started with If You Want Blood, You've Got It. Killer opening track. I think this is just a great choice. Something that's just really cool. Just a really nice opening track. And this is what they've been opening with at all these shows. I think all of their shows with Brian over the last, you know, few years, which there hasn't been a lot, by the way, but they've opened with this track, and just really works well. And I really like that decision. Now I'm going to do this review a little bit differently. I'm not going to go song by song just yet. I actually kind of wanted to preface by just my overall thoughts on the show, and then I was going to kind of go one by one. My overall thoughts on the show, I thought they were great. I thought they had a lot of energy, and Brian was in a great mood, just smiling. He's just having the time of his life. Angus, he's still dancing around doing his, you know, his duck walk, and he's still got energy. And they're in their 70s. They're much older. You know, Angus has got gray hair now, but for them to be sounding the way they sound and doing what they're doing, the energy they have and all this stuff at their age, just so commendable. And it's just absolutely amazing, and I'm just so grateful to be able to see them. And I just got to give major props to them. They really can still command a stadium, and they just did a great job overall. I really don't have any issues, really. I mean, they're not perfect. They, you know, they make mistakes. They're definitely like slower than they were back in the day. You can also tell they really take their time in between the songs. You can't expect them to sound like they did and, you know, look how they did and give exactly the same performance they would back in their prime. But you got to look at it from a different lens, a different context. And I just thought they were really phenomenal, to be honest with you. You know, especially Angus and Brian in their 70s and everything. Angus came out in his schoolboy uniform. He did the green one this time. Didn't get to see the green one in Sunrise, but he had the green schoolboy uniform with the red hat, the red tie. Only wore it for a few songs, and then he took the hat off and took the jacket off, and was just wearing the white undershirt, the dress shirt, for pretty much the whole entire show. And then like a little bit later in the show, he unbuttoned it, and he got rid of the tie and was kind of just playing with the dress shirt unbuttoned. Brian was wearing just like a black sleeveless shirt, and then and of course you got Stevie on rhythm guitar since Malcolm Young passed, rest in peace. And then we have Chris Chaney on bass now, and he and the drummer Matt Logg are not official members of the band. They're actually just touring members. Phil Rudd and Cliff Williams are still technically members of the band that are still planning on, I guess, recording with them, but they're not touring anymore. So we have Chris Chaney and Matt Logg. Never seen either of them live. Interesting to see Chris Chaney, because I'm a Jane's Addiction fan, and he used to be in Jane's Addiction, and actually performed on some of my favorite Jane's Addiction songs. So that was pretty cool. He's a younger guy. Matt Logg, he's an interesting character. He kind of just looks like a old school heavy metal, long brown hair drummer, but he did fine. I thought the drums were really high in the mix, and I think he's a drummer that really utilizes his kick drum, his bass drum, and it's very bass drum heavy. But as far as Angus's performance, like I said, still a lot of energy, still dances around, definitely slower. And I would say that Matt Logg helps with that. He drums slower, I think on purpose to help them out. And once again, not a gripe or anything, just an observation. But some of the songs, well, actually, I think all of the songs are tuned down at least 1 or 2 keys now, which is fine. It's not anything that takes away from the experience for me. But definitely, once again, an observation. Angus played with multiple guitars throughout the concert, but I would say mainly his black SG was the one that he used, and then the one that he used the second most was his black SG with the white pickguard. He used that on a few songs, and then I believe on Sin City he had a darkish red, almost like a brown SG, and that was the only one I remember him doing that one on. But he never busted out the red SG, which I was surprised about. So didn't get the red SG, just the straight up red SG in this one. So I thought that was interesting. And then Brian, he once again, I've said this so many times, experiencing a concert in person is so much different than listening to videos. And Brian sounded fine. He sounded solid to me. It was hard to understand him at times when he was like talking to the crowd, especially in between songs. It was like kind of comical. He actually dropped multiple F-bombs, I think, throughout the show, which was interesting. Not like in an angry way, but just like, just fucking talking to the crowd or whatever. But he has a very distorted vocal, and I think that really helps him out in these stadium shows, even in arena shows. I'm sure it would be the same thing, where it's all of this music is so distorted that like his mistakes or him not sounding the greatest is not going to come through the speakers as much, if that makes sense, because it's just the acoustics of the whole place. It kind of just drowns it out. So he sounded fine throughout the whole entire show, in my opinion. Thought he sounded good. And yeah, I will say I heard multiple people complaining about the audio though, and saying that they were struggling to hear Brian at times, and just overall just thought that the sound should have been louder. I mean, me personally, my ears were ringing after the show, so I didn't have any problems with it. It just seemed like a typical concert to me as far as the audio goes, but I did see and hear multiple people complaining about the audio in this one. So that's what I would say about that. Yeah, and it's the thing about these AC/DC shows, it's really the Angus and Brian show. It's them up front, and they are the two main guys in AC/DC. Angus is the last original member, and obviously Brian is kind of like an original member, even though he came in the 80s. But great to see him back, and just insane. And they're in their 70s. I can't get over that. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on a little bit to the set list here. The second song was Back in Black, and then Brian Johnson did the little show introduction. I think he does this at every show. Just kind of speaks to the crowd. Number 3, Demon Fire. This is this is one from Power Up, which I like this one, and it was cool to see that. And it's awesome that they're still recording new music and like playing and promoting the new music. You don't see that every day. And then they did Shot Down in Flames. I don't know why, but this is like so stupid. When they started this song, for some reason I thought this was Bedlam in Belgium, but Shot Down in Flames. Number 5, Thunderstruck. I would say, man, I'm not talking shit at all, but you can tell this is the one they have the toughest time with. It's slowed down. I mean, I think a lot of these songs are slowed down, but this one is like really slowed down. Angus, kind of struggles to get that main riff going on this one, and it's a tough one for Brian to sing too, because there's so many high notes in this one. But the fact that they're still like performing this one and putting out such an awesome effort is just so commendable. It was great. And it's like one of their most popular songs, and they're like, well, even though it's really tough for us, we're still gonna go out there and perform it. And I will say, Brian did forget the lyrics on some of these songs at times, and there was a lot of crowd participation in a lot of these songs, and I think he kind of just like let the crowd sing some of the choruses on these songs, and they were really into it. And it was just awesome to see the sea of crowd, the crowd, just seeing the sea of people in the crowd and all the little light up devil horns. Was just such a interesting experience, cool experience. Something they've been doing for a long time, as far as like letting people buy the devil horns and wear them at the show and everything. I mentioned in my Disturbed concert review last month that the thing at these shows now is everyone lights up their phones, but it's not like that at the AC/DC shows. It's just the devil horns, really. Then they did Have a Drink on Me. I thought that was one of the highlights of the show for me. And then they did Hell's Bells, and then they had the bell descend from the top of the stage, so that was cool. Then they did number 8, Shot in the Dark, another one from Power Up, one of the singles. Really like this song a lot. I actually really like the Power Up album a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it was a great album, and I don't think the newer songs got a great reception from the fans. And I think, I just imagine like most of these people are casual fans to hear the hits and everything. It's just like crazy how like the newer songs, people will immediately just sit down. But I really dig the new songs. Then they did Stiff Upper Lip, Highway to Hell. During Highway to Hell, they had fire like lit up on on like behind the drum riser on the top of the stage. Shoot to Thrill, one of the highlights of the show for me too. I remember at the show in Sunrise, I was like kind of disappointed that there weren't a lot of people who participated in the hand clapping portion in the middle, but I would say at this show there was a lot more people clapping their hands, which I thought was cool. Sin City, Angus strummed his guitar with his necktie for a little bit on this one, which is interesting. And then something personal about this song for me, at one point there was this like old raunchy woman who was walking down the steps to my right, and she was grinding the railing on the steps and like acting like it was a stripper pole, and she was just like all up on that thing, and everyone like around me was just staring at her. It was like someone behind me was like, it's a show within the show. And she just seemed like she was drunk, and she just kept walking all the way down and grinding the whole entire time. And I got a little bit of that on my vlog as well. Check that out. But 13, Rock and Roll Train from, you know, Black Ice, 2008. That was another one that was a highlight of the show for me. Cool, they're still doing that one. And then 14, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Angus, he always does the line, but you ain't got the guts, and I always like that part. But the interesting thing to me was he actually sang the next line as well, enough to drive you nuts. Never seen him or heard him do the second line as well. I always heard him do the first line, not the second line, so that was interesting. And then they did High Voltage, Riff Raff. Riff Raff is interesting because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Axl brought this one out. Well, not that he like created the song, but when he was touring with the band, I know he's a big Riff Raff fan, and they played that song when he was on tour with them. So, and I'm pretty sure it was because how much he likes it and how much he enjoys performing it. He does it even with Guns N' Roses sometimes. It's interesting they've kept Riff Raff even with Brian in the band, or back in the band again. So I think that's pretty cool. It's kind of like it's a little thing that Axl maybe impacted a little bit on the set list all these years later. It did You Shook Me All Night Long, of course. Brian changed the lyrics to Tampa Thighs during this one. And then they did Whole Lotta Rosie. And they didn't have the inflatable Rosie, I noticed, during this performance. But, of course, they had a lot of, you know, Rosie on the video boards digitally. All right. Then 19, Let There Be Rock, with a 20-minute Angus Young guitar solo. One thing I will mention about the Angus Young guitar solo was he went out to the platform out in front of the stage, which I will say Angus and Brian didn't go out there too often during the show, but Angus definitely did during his guitar solo. And when he you know, falls to the ground and is flailing on the ground while he did his solo. It is kind of humorous when he does this portion of the show, and I wonder how many people, like, who are casual fans who have no idea he's about to do that, think that he legitimately fell down and like he needs help or something. But they shoot confetti during this portion of the show, so I think that's like a way to signify, like, hey, this is part of the show, like, don't freak out. But it is humorous to me, at least. And then they went ahead and did the fake encore, and then came back out for the last two songs. They did TNT, and then the final song, For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. And they had the cannons, which was really awesome. They didn't have the cannons in Sunrise, I don't believe. So to see and hear the cannons was just epic. It was just really sick. Glad to see that. Really enjoyed that. What would have made it even cooler is if they did the cannons from the Buccaneers pirate ship, but of course, like, logistically that probably wouldn't make sense, but that would have been an insane touch if they did that. And then at the very end of the show, they had a fireworks show and display that was really unexpected and really cool too. So they did 21 songs in total. They played for 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is typical of their shows right now, which is just insane once again. I think they should maybe bump it down just to 2 hours flat. And I think I might have said this on one of my other AC/DC concert reviews. But I think that would be just like, I don't know, just a more round number maybe. And be I don't know, do you really need the extra 20 minutes? But that's what they want to do. And I was looking at other set lists from this show, or from this tour. And this is the set list they do every single night. I don't think they really switch it up at all. So this is what you're going to be expecting. This is what you're going to see if you go and see them on this tour, which there aren't that many dates left. I wish they would have played the song Rock or Bust, one of my favorite AC/DC songs, if not my all-time favorite, or at least something from that album. They didn't do anything from that album, but it was a great distribution of like Brian songs, Bond songs, and newer material too. It's good they threw on some newer material, even if it doesn't get the best reaction from the crowd. But yeah, this will probably be the last time I ever see AC/DC. You know, that'd be unbelievable and fantastic if they do come around again someday, but I just don't really foresee it happening. But you never ever know, especially with these guys. They're so resilient, and you know, they're still kicking. So we'll see. But very fortunate, very grateful, and just very blessed. And just, you know, God bless them, because they are inspirations for sure. And they just have so many hits, and they've just been around for so long. I mean, 50 years is insane. But yeah, it was a warm night for sure. We're talking Florida in May, and yeah, it was just a super memorable night for sure. After the show, I went to a different merchandise booth to see if maybe I could find that shirt that I originally wanted to get, and unfortunately they sold out over there too. But I did find a different shirt that I actually think I prefer more than the original shirt, and luckily the guy that was working the merchandise booth was nice enough to just let me do an even swap for it, and I went ahead and got that. So here it is, and really awesome that it has not only the tour date, but it has the city and the venue, which is really awesome. So super happy to get that. On the way out of the stadium, there was this woman and this man who were getting into it really badly. All I saw was the woman going off on the man and pushing him, and it seemed like he had done something prior to provoke her, but she was furious, and she was trying to get other people's attention, and there was just obscenities left and right, and yeah, they're about to fight for sure. It's just interesting because I've only been to this venue once, and it was for the Commanders-Buccaneers game, playoff game a few months ago, and there was almost a fight after that game too. So 2 times I've been to this stadium, and 2 fights that have almost happened. So that's pretty much all I got for you all today. If you went to the show, what'd you think of the show? If you've been to any of the shows on this tour, what'd you think of the show that you went to? If you are an AC/DC fan, what's your favorite song? What do you think of the video clips you've seen from this tour? Do you think Brian sounds okay? You know, what do you think about, you know, Angus's playing? I would love to hear your feedback. So please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.